All right, welcome to another edition of the Real Social Proof Podcast, man. Do you know what social proof is? Social proof is something you can provide someone, meaning I did it and I can provide you with the steps on how I did it. You know why I can provide you with steps on how I did it? Because I actually did it, okay? In this world of gurus, where you can be whoever you want to be on social media, I actually rented a car and I was thinking I should be real corny and post a picture of me in front of the car as if I own it. And then I'd be a fake guru. So,
Right.
Well, we got a very, very special guest today. Somebody I really admire you.
Thank you, man.
And for one, it looks like you're having an amazing time in life. But I'm gonna let you introduce yourselves to each other, my audience. Mr. KhaazRa, what's what? What's the good?
Thanks for being here, man. Really appreciate it. Honored to be here, actually, man. And happy to support the mission, Real Social Proof, as well, which you have an event coming up. So I definitely want to talk about that. And that's really why I'm here in Atlanta. And I do have a confession to make.
Talk to me.
Right? I was one of those corny people just this past weekend.
You rented it and took a picture?
I didn't rent it, but I took a picture in front of a Lexus that wasn't mine. It was my wife's.
Well, that's real.
But they told me to.
When you can buy the car, and then you still know you own it. So
Okay.
that's what's up.
Yeah. They told me to do it, but I was corny. I thought it was corny before I did it, but
Right.
it felt good.
Well, it's all good, man. Well, for one, I definitely want to just like jump into the meat and potatoes of what
Boom,
you
man.
do, man.
Let's do it, man.
So actually, I want to explain to people who you are and what you do, but then I want to go into the backstory. Okay, so, and I've been bragging on him ever since I met him. The only 100% black-owned payment processor in the country. Okay, so it's almost like the owner of Stripe, except for he's black and he's better than Stripe, right?
That's right.
Okay,
Absolutely.
cool. So please introduce yourself and what you do and what your business is about.
So, KhaazRa, you can call me Khaaz. We own electronic commerce. I have a partner, right? We co-own it together. He happens to look like you and I, right? Make that clarification. And man, I'm not gonna go into, we'll go into the backstory later, but we've been around for maybe 12, 15 years now. I started off as a door-to-door sales rep. I'm gonna fast forward. Went through every level and phase of credit card processing. Again, started off as a door-to-door sales rep, and then we worked up under other companies. You know, I didn't know him at the time, and I just saw some things in the industry that I didn't like at all, right? First of all, I had no previous sales experience, and I grew up in Detroit, Michigan, so just like, you know, learning how to connect to people, like the way I see you do it so well, and dropped all the sales stuff and became just like a people person. And became the #1 salesperson at these like prestigious, very financially successful companies. Financially successful. I wouldn't say ethically successful, right?
That's how they become financially successful?
Yeah, well, you know, everybody has their
ethically.
own business model, right? And they were connected to some very powerful banks who are still in existence today, who have been fined for doing things that they should not be doing as well. But anyway, I became #1 salesperson there, and then I was like, wait a minute. After a while, I woke up, I was like, wait a minute, what the heck am I doing? Because I didn't really understand it. A lot of times you get into something, you're gung-ho, and you're like full blast with it, right? But you didn't read the fine print. And so I realized that, hold it, what I'm selling people and telling people is something totally different than what's on the paperwork, right? So it taught me something. And so I had to walk away. Now, mind you, I'm coming from poor, like P-O. Right? And I got to a point where now I have all this income coming in, right? I have I have access to my time, I have money coming in, the money's working for me while I'm sleeping. I have to walk away from that because I have to make a decision. Do I want to continue in this because they wanted me to train the salespeople, they wanted me to become like in the inner circle, or do I walk away? So I made a choice. I had to walk away and leave because they said, hey, either you can be on board and continue to make really good money, right? And invited me to like the owners' homes. I mean, these guys living like, right? I don't have a house like that, right? They living, right? I can do that, or if I walk away, leave it all, like the money, everything that I had built up. So I did that, had to walk away.
Because you realized you were like, the company was getting over on people?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. 100%.
How do processing companies get over on clients?
That's a good thing. We might as well get into it, right? So one way is keeping clients uninformed, right? Most people today are used to, let's say, auto boarding, where you click a button and you get set up electronically. Now, in some cases, people, they don't want to know the details either, so there's both sides of it. They just, man, set me up.
Scroll down, I agree.
That's it. So what are you agreeing to, right? We all do it,
Yeah,
right?
whatever everybody else is agreeing to, I'm down.
Right. And some companies, as their business model, have things in there that you would never agree to, that allow them to hold funds forever. You wake up one morning like, whoa, where's my money at? Right? It's not there. Or to maybe hold your, take your money and invest it somewhere else without getting your permission or without at least including you in the profits. Right?
So let's say Stripe. I'm gonna stop using their name, but that process.
You can use the name if you want
so
to.
let's say Stripe. Let's say, for instance, I'm processing, I don't know, $30,000 a month.
Correct.
What Stripe will do, with no real reasoning, is they'll hold the money so that they can invest your money somewhere else and then release it in 60, 90 days.
So they don't say that they invest the money. It's interesting, but I just saw a video maybe last week with the CEO of PayPal where he's being interviewed, and they were talking about funds being held and things like that. And so the interviewer asked the interviewee, the CEO, do you invest the money? He says, yeah, in low-risk investments. I was kind of surprised that he would admit that because they hold a ton of people's money. And I have tons of people on my Instagram page that's their one major issue is like, why are you holding my funds for so long? Because cash is king in any business. You got staff to pay, you have your own expenses, you have utilities, the energy company, the phone company. Nobody wants to hear, Stripe is holding my money or PayPal is holding my money. Like, listen, that's not my problem. Your staff will walk out on you, right, if you cannot pay them. So it really puts a lot of people in a bad position. But yeah, sometimes they're holding the funds. Now, the other part is this, is that in some cases, sometimes they should hold the money. I don't know about for 6 and 9 months in every case, because some people, like, since they're really quick, since they're really eager and anxious to get set up payment processing like really, really fast, they don't do the due diligence to set it up properly. Like it may be like the one-man show or the two-man show. You don't have an operations team. You don't have the IT person who builds the site and then passes it off to someone maybe in legal or operations to make sure the terms and conditions are set up properly, to make sure the contract is set up properly, to make sure the marketing matches the terms and conditions in the contract, right? When you auto board, that stuff is not being checked by 99.9% of companies out there. Because you consider like a high risk or a tier 3, let's call it a tier 3. You consider the tier 3 client. Tier 3 clients, you don't have no rights. You high risk. You lucky. You can't go to BMW and get financing for a car because you're not good paper. You got to go to the buy here, pay here place. When you go to the buy here, pay here place, don't they give you whatever the hell? You pretty much take whatever, right? So that's how it is in the payment processing world. So what we decided to do, and I've skipped so many different areas, but what we decided to do is when we set it up the right way, right? Because the industry definitely wants to protect the card holder, right? But what we want to do is protect the card holder and the business owner.
Gotcha.
You follow me? So it's a win, win, win. Win for the client / customer, win for the business owner, and a win for us as well, because it doesn't make it, we're not holding funds. You can process as much as you want to with us and get your funds the very next business morning, right?
So we can process a bunch of money, then get it the next day. But aren't you, so I guess the reason these companies hold the money is, in case of fraud or something like that. Aren't you like kind of worried about fraud too?
So we have,
like me as a business owner, like I get Tom like, yo, I'm selling Tom this product, or I'm saying, yo, look, spend $3,000 with me.
Right.
I process through you, you gave my money, Tom disputes it, says, yo, I didn't do that. And then you're stuck with the bag from your business perspective.
So we have a few options for that. Now, here's the difference between us and a ton of different other entities. So you have 1 million brokers out there. You got Payment Cloud, eMerchant Broker, Gateway Funnel Pros, there's so many different brokers out there, right? And you can give your application to them, or whether it be a physical doc or online, and they'll send it to a ton of different companies. They'll make the profit on it. They don't care what you process. You could tell them, man, I'm selling drugs. Man, just give me the paperwork.
Right.
I'll get it done. Because they're looking at the profit. They have no risk, period.
Are these the processing companies?
No, these are the brokers and salespeople.
brokers.
They have no risk. So their incentive is, let's get paid. So you come with the overnight program to get rich, let's do it, right? You like, man, I found somebody that could do it, right? They send it to a totally different entity. They don't know, they have no relationship with that entity outside of paperwork. They don't know who you are. They don't know anything about your business. They don't know anything, period. So the broker has no risk, or even the ISO, which stands for Independent Sales Organization. You go to the bottom of a website, you'll see ISO of this, ISO of that. That means it's an independent sales organization. In many cases, they don't do their own underwriting and risk either, just like the broker does it.
Gotcha.
There ain't no risk. What you want to do? Let's do it. Let's go, right? Right? If somebody's selling drugs, you can sell them, just give me the money, but you go to jail, right?
Yeah.
So now, the entity that actually does the underwriting and risk, that's where the risk comes in.
Gotcha.
Right? They care, but it wasn't communicated to them properly what you do. No one looked at your paperwork, no one looked at your website, your terms, no one looked at anything. So where we differ is, and it took us a while to get here. Like, you can't just start off like that unless you a gazillionaire or a millionaire or whatever. We're a full service provider, right? So we're right up under Visa, MasterCard. Like, our direct connection and communication is with Visa, MasterCard. So we do everything in-house, our underwriting, our risk, our funding. That means the money gets to your bank account because we put it in there.
Gotcha.
Customer service takes care of everything. So yeah, there is a certain level of risk, but we mitigate that and we review that before we bring you on board. So that's really where the risk is, whereas on the other end, and I'll just be honest with you, companies can see how much money you have in the bank account. So let's say if you, like you said with your friend, $3,000 sale, right? You say you have a $3,000 sale, but you got $5 in the bank. $5. Some people come to us like, man, I'm selling a package for $20,000. All right, cool, what you selling? Man, I haven't thought about it yet. Like, what are you selling, right? We're trying to help you actually set up a business, a long-term business. And so they come up with some, like, whatever. They're selling, whatever, the consulting package for $20,000. No problem. But you got $5 in the bank account. Like 5, right? So if Tom doesn't like that $20,000 or $3,000 product, how you gonna cover the risk? You follow me? So it'll cost some companies
That's how you judge who you can set up, who actually.
Well, no, we'll set you up, but these are questions that need to be answered.
Right.
Like, this is a business. Let's see, how can, I know you want to win and make the $20,000, but the client may not like the product. How can it be covered? Right? How responsible are you to actually manage and run the business properly? This is why the real social proof is going to be so key, because it's going to teach people how to actually run a business. You have a ton of speakers that are going to be there on stage who actually are running businesses successfully. So those people take, I think, for granted people who have already been there and done it.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? You got to invest the money.
Yeah.
Right?
How much is your company processing for customers?
Oh, we process billions. Yeah, man. We've been at it for a minute, man. Like, we're not as big as like Stripe, PayPal, Chase, and all that other. These guys got deep pockets and deep connections, right? Super deep, and they're also publicly ran companies for the most part. So we're a privately owned company. We just finance it out of pocket, man. Like, even myself and my business partner.
You're not gonna go public?
No.
No?
Nah, man. No. We're not going public. Nah, man. Because our obligation is to the business owner, right? When you go public, different obligations, right? You know what I mean? Which, I don't want to say what other companies are doing as their motive, but if I can hold an extra $1 million in a day, which is easy to do, just $1 million, right? A low risk interest, let's say some treasury bonds, I don't know what, 3%, 4%? What's 3% on $1 million? That's pretty nice. Right? And if I could do that every single day, right? Now I can pay my shareholders, and I can pay this. I got extra money coming out the woodworks. That's not our business model. I'm not knocking what they're doing. That's just not something that I feel like I can sleep well at night knowing that's being done.
Do you feel like it's a bad business practice for a payment processor to invest? Because that's what banks do, right? So I put my money in the bank. The bank takes the money and they invest it.
They divvy it out.
Right?
Right.
And, you know, they grow that money off of my money and then
Correct.
they give me 2 cents, right?
Right.
So do you guys
Said 2
not
cents.
invest?
No, not right now.
So y'all like hold the money just to make sure the money's there for your clients.
Well, remember, we're depositing the very next business day.
Got you.
So-
that's where it's okay.
Right.
That's
So
what's
how?
separate.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, you can't make too much like that. Now, some other companies, they may hold the money for 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 7 days. People who go through Eventbrite, sometimes it's 7 days, sometimes it's 2 weeks,
I'm on
sometimes
7
it's
days,
30
bro.
days.
I'm
See,
like,
you on 7
oh my-
days?
yeah.
See, and I mean, that's a good investment for that amount of time. But remember, it's not just you. It's probably 10,000 other people.
Oh, they can make it do what it do with them 2 days to hold everybody's money for
Right,
the weekend.
right.
Oh, that's dope.
Now, what we do not agree, our business model is not to just hold funds surprisingly. If you come to us and you have this very, I don't want to say sketchy kind of business, but a risky kind of business model where you're testing it out and you have these high sales, you have horrible financial history, right? But you're still trying to come up, right? We'll work with you. Yeah. We may say, hey, listen, do you agree to a reserve? But you sign a doc, right? It's probably 5%, 10%, and not in every case. But we say, hey, do you agree to this?
Gotcha.
Right?
Gotcha.
So that way, it's a responsible kind of thing. And we just help you monitor your business for like 90 days, right? And if you're good, man, here's a reserve back, whatever. Yeah. But it's there so that we're not 100% on the hook. Do you follow me? We're just trying to help coach you to growing your business, because people think that getting a business is just like, man, I click a button and the business works, and then I can go to Bali and chill.
Not the case.
You got customer service, you got tech support, you have fulfillment, whether it be consulting, whatever. There's different things that go into it, right? And so we want to help guide you through that whole process. So that's another area where we differ, is that we're not just trying to set up credit card processing. We literally want to create an ethical, long-term relationship, because it doesn't benefit us for you to come on board and be gone next week and we work with people right now, and to my millennial community out there, please invest in learning business skills, right? Please, 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 because
RealSocialProof.com.
right, that's it.
We got you.
You have to learn how to do that, because we got millennials averaging 300% in chargebacks. The allowable chargeback threshold from the car brands is 1%. We got people averaging 300
in chargebacks.
300%. Now we say, listen, you can't continue like this, right? We just don't totally, and we always let them know in advance. Like, hey man, listen, this is getting ready to come, this particular site is getting ready to come to an end. It's not a business model that can exist, because you can't just, especially if you have clients and customers, claiming fraud, right? I didn't get my product, I didn't get my service. You can't dip out like that, right? We have in-house chargeback protection, fraud protection. Fraud, the kind of fraud protection we're talking about is when, Lil Ray Ray uses his mom's credit card. His mom calls in and says, you know what? I don't recognize this charge. Well, we got systems. Well, it looks like whoever used the card was in your house.
Right.
You got to know somebody in there, right? But not fraud where you can just make sales and then kind of get ghosts on the clients, right? And so those are a little harder to deal with, but we still give them another option even after that. So we're in it for the long haul. And it's one of the reasons why we created the business, man, is to help people actually grow the business in addition to the payment processing.
Gotcha. And I want to switch gears a little bit, because like you have this wonderful business where you're helping, especially people got courses, they're doing high ticket coaching. Like you're not holding their funds, they can actually talk to you, or somebody at the at the company. How many employees you got?
In the corporate office, this is our main office, probably about 50.
Yeah,
about 50 people.
Okay, gotcha. And you built that from scratch.
We built it from scratch, man. But listen, we had the ghetto office, man. I'm just gonna, since you're talking about that, Because I want to make sure people know that it's not like this is today,
Right.
but it didn't start like that. When we first started, man, I kid you not, David. Like I said, door-to-door sales, right? And I was a sales rep, I was a technician, I was customer service, I was back office. I must have wore 6 or 7 hats. My partner, same thing. He handled all the operations. And so when people would call, because we thought to ourselves, who wants to do business with 2 black guys? Like 2 black guys, come on. So
Were you but at this point you weren't 100% you.
we were an ISO up under First Data in Wells Fargo. We were ISO of Wells Fargo, but up under First Data. So we thought we were the owners.
Gotcha.
But they were doing the underwriting and risk, right? So you follow what I'm saying?
Okay, so there's a bunch of people like that where you got
tons
your
of
own
companies.
Processing company, but you're still being underwritten by
Right.
a larger company.
You're not even a processing company. You're a sales company. That's really what it is. Like a lot of people are kind of like, they over embellish the CEO, right? I'm the CEO. I own this. I own that. Right? It don't mean nothing if you don't own the paper, right? If you're not in control of the risk, you're a salesperson, and there's nothing wrong with being a salesperson. But that's really what it is.
That's a bar.
Right.
If you're not in control of the risk, you're a salesperson.
That's right.
Not a bit.
Right. It's a whole different game because, like I said, we were doing deals and people would call, man, and I answer the phone. Hey, hi, my name is Jason. How can I help you? And then somebody else would call. Yeah, this is Mr. Kowalski. How can I help you? Dude, I must have done that so many times. I mastered it. I mastered it. My partner did the same thing. So people thought we had an office of 25 people. It was just 2 people. And then we built up. We brought telemarketers in. We brought sales reps in. And here's the thing, right? So all these other companies, I had worked with 2 other companies before as a consultant. And I was like, man, they're super unethical. Got to start our own thing, right? Now, we're the owners, right? And man, we got a slap in the face, like a huge slap in the face, because we brought on all this business and we were going real fast with deals, but we were going backwards because they were holding funds. They were doing all kind of crazy stuff. They would mistreat us. We couldn't get in contact with the decision makers, the owner. We bring the deal. You come on board with me. And you call me like, yo, where's my money, Kaz? I'm like, what you mean? What you mean, where's the money?
Right.
It's not in my account, man. Where's my damn money? And it looks like I'm being unethical when I'm not. It's this other entity who is basically pulling the strings, but I can't do nothing because even though I'm the CEO or whatever title I want to give myself, that's why I don't even have a title now, right? Because the other entity who controls the risk, that's who controls the deal. So they can increase the rates if they want to. They can hold the funds and not communicate with me or the business owner for that matter if they want to, right? Some of them have English as the 3rd language. They don't even understand what a DBA is versus a legal business name. They don't know about online courses. They don't know how people can make money online. They don't even understand, especially the banking world, they don't even understand that yet. They're still coming around, right? So that's another reason why we say, it took us a while to realize that we weren't really the owners, right? So we had to put up, many years, man, of not taking a check home. Like, no exaggeration, like years.
So how did you make the transition from the salesperson to I now control the risk? Like you process through my company, I hold the money. I collect the money, and I deliver the money.
Sure. So I'm still sales. I've added some marketing skills to my belt. So the way it was the years, dude, like literally years.
But I'm talking about in terms of structure-wise.
Okay, so structure-wise, so I'm getting to that. So instead of taking checks home ourselves as the owners, right? We didn't take a check home, right? Everyone who worked for us, sales reps, 1099, W-4s, it didn't matter. Everyone made really good money.
How'd you get paid?
We didn't.
What'd you do?
Man.
What'd you eat?
Man, dude. We'd take maybe a little bit here and there, use the credit card, the bank accounts definitely weren't fat at all. Just, man, being creative, dude. For years, like no exaggeration, for years. And so every dollar that we had, now we had to put back into becoming a full service provider, which is how you become the owner of the actual paper itself.
Did you have to like buy your freedom almost? Like,
Basically, yep. Because we were, if we could have done it another way, we would have. But the bankers and people from these big entities, we'd see them no matter what complexion they were. And we'd be like, oh, we're gonna help you. And it was this game, man. You gotta read the fine print. And everywhere we turn, it was like, man, they got us here, they got us there. I'm telling my business partner, like, dang, man, you ain't reading the paperwork or what?
Right.
He's like, man, this is what they told me. You heard it. And it was just so much game. And so we had to kind of slow down for a second and say, all right, let's just take our money. What's the highest, we used to say this, how can we get off the plantation? And we used to always say that to each other. How can we get off the plantation, man? Because we'd do a deal, and Master said, psh, no money for you today. Just keep working. No money. So we're like, man, how can we get away from that kind of regime where we're in control? So it was becoming a full service provider by putting all of our money back into a reserve, and basically, like you said, because it wasn't like you can do it. Right. People were always telling us, no, you can't. Well, what's that? I never even heard of it. Like people were like, and most people don't know what it is. Yeah. But even people today, I talked to a guy just the other day who basically told me he does billions and billions and billions of dollars in sales, right? And he has all of these banks that he works with. He didn't even understand it, right? So a lot of people don't even know what it is. You really have to dig and have to kind of go through it to realize that maybe some people watching this who are into the sales space, maybe now they'll definitely be able to relate with having funds held. Right. But you really have to keep digging, and you have to find, because they don't even offer it to companies unless you have so much money in the bank. You have to have your financials together. You have to have a physical office. Right. You have to have risk analysts on board. You have to have underwriters. So you have to spend a lot of money. You have to have tech support, customer service, because we could have done it at different levels, but to really be in control of everything, you have to bring everything in house.
Gotcha.
Right.
Gotcha.
As an example, and I'll get off the subject. While we were in ISO up under First Data, so imagine if there's an underwriting issue, you have to rely on somebody who doesn't know you have no connection with, right? Or if funds are being held, you don't know the risk analyst. We called a risk analyst one time and said, hey man, can you release this company's money? He says, what's the name of the company? We gave him the name of the company. He's like, well, I'm shoveling snow right now. We're like, what? Shoveling snow? Like, what do? Where are you at? And he said, well, don't worry, man, when I go back in, I'll release it. And he released it without asking us for any docs. So we're like, you know what? This is strictly a subjective thing that's being done here.
That's crazy.
And people are being incentivized. At some point, we said people are being incentivized to just hold money. It was no extra paperwork you needed or anything. So even with tech support, people will call us, but the ultimate tech support would be with who holds the risk. Right. They'll make the decisions. They'll do all kinds of things we didn't want them to do. Customer service, the same thing. It was horrible customer service. I don't know how First Data is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, processing platform in the world, but has the worst customer service and tech support in the world. And so we said, how can we, because we want to represent us. We don't want to have people, because people are like, man, you guys are horrible. We're like, it's not even us. You guys are holding my money. We're like, we ain't even make the money. We don't have it. To get from up under that, man, we decided to go 100% all in and control everything ourselves.
And I guess it's challenging to be in your position. That's why there's no other African-American owned companies that do this, right? But I want to talk to you about, one, why is that the case? Like, I mean, it seems like it's just another business model that we got to figure out. Like, okay, there's money being made over there. Oh, I got to get this license. I got to get this situation. And, like, why can't someone else do it? Why aren't there more?
I think one reason is because, man, I want to say ego. Ego has a lot to do with it, because a lot of times we're looking to be the CEO. So some people, not everybody, some people get into entrepreneurship because they don't want to be told what to do.
Right.
Right.
Wrong reason.
Right.
Because your customers are going to tell you what to do every day, all day. So.
Right. So they don't want to be told what to do. They don't want anybody telling them where to go. And I understand that, right? Because I have some of those same feelings as well. I want to go and come as I please. But when you really get into entrepreneurship and you know it, you probably have to be even more structured, right? So what I've seen with people not really taking it a step further, first of all, it's a very closed network. That's the first thing, right? And remember,
in the processing world.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. And to get to that level, you got to be squeezing a lot of noses while you're talking. Right, right. You gotta be squeezing a lot of noses, right? So that's one thing. Also, you have to have your financials together, like together. Also, there's a very few. You need a sponsorship bank. There's not that many. One guy told me the other day he had 32 sponsorship. He had 32 bins, which means you have a sponsorship with the bank, right? Dude, it's not even 32 banks that offer that. Now, this is not even African American. This is just a guy with a big ego. Right? He's like, I got 32 banks. We're like, man, the biggest processing platform in the world doesn't even have 32 bins.
I was like, lying.
Right? Well, here's the thing. He's a sales rep who can send deals to 32 different places.
Oh, gotcha.
But the whole ego of, I'm the CEO.
Yeah.
Right? I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And so I find that we fall victim, everybody falls victim to that as well. Whereas once they get to a position where now I'm the CEO, because there's a lot of salespeople who will say, there's nothing wrong with it, but they'll white label they'll white label, or they'll just, no, they won't even white label. They'll say, you know what, I'm David Shands Merchant Processing, right? They don't really understand any of the other stuff, but they just want to be the CEO. Yeah. Instead of like, just go through the ranks, be the best sales rep you could be, learn everything you can with this other company, learn all the mistakes, see all the flaws, see how you can make things better. But they're like, no, as soon as I become a sales rep, bam, I'm the CEO, and they stop.
Yeah,
and they start bringing a whole bunch of other people on up under them, training people, and they don't even know.
Right.
So we see that so much in all nationalities. But I definitely think that's one of the reasons, from what I've seen within the African American community, is just, man, just ego. Like, like if I wanted to learn real estate or something like that, dude, we just came from the Legacy Center, right? That was my first time there. Super awesome experience. I will never forget that. Man, can I work here? Can I please work here? What can I do to learn from, Ernestine and Jay? Like, what can I do, right? Instead of like, okay, now I'm doing real estate. Now I'm this big conglomerate all of a sudden, right? And then I have to learn all the mistakes of my own, right? This guy already probably made 1 million mistakes, spent a ton of money, right? He's been there and done everything that you really want to do. So I think that's one of the reasons, it's a little bit of ego.
And one thing he was telling me is, you being, like, the only person in this space of color, and somebody was just asking, they was like, yo, okay, it was a really good question. He said, if I was gonna research your company, what are the negatives that I would find? Like, am I gonna find people saying, yo, they took my money, they say they don't hold funds, like, are they gonna find that? And you answered it very well, like, yo, we don't have any issues. Like,
Right.
Issues. But what you were saying was a lot of African Americans don't like doing business with other African Americans, even if all things are the same and your process is cheaper. Why do you feel like you experienced that?
Several reasons for sure. Because we had, I had one guy who says that he doesn't like giving up his social, he doesn't want to give his Social Security information up because he doesn't feel comfortable with it. And so we were like, okay, so he said he was processing with Stripe. So they asked him, well, how did you, because you need a Social Security number to process with Stripe. We said, well, how did they get your Social Security number? He said, well, I just went on their website and put it on there. Well, we said, man, we know you. You were referred to us by people who are already processing with us, who are your really good friends, right? You can physically come to our office as well. That's the one thing we offer as well. You can come and meet the people who manage your money, right? So that trust is the trust. The trust wasn't there for whatever reason. Eventually, he ended up coming on board, but we had to do all this crazy stuff to get around not having a Social Security number. He put somebody else's Social Security number on there, somebody else's address. I'm like, man, when you go to a bank, do you know the CEO? Right? Who do you know at the bank? You know them because you may see them behind the glass, if they still have those. I haven't been to the bank in a while. But who do you know? You don't know anybody. So a lot of it has to do with trust. But I also noticed this, is that if you come from another, Atlanta is a different kind of environment, right? Totally different. But we're still in America, right? I've noticed that people who come from different places, who are used to the government being of, maybe somebody in their family, or they look like them, right? Or the city council, or the people who run the country, the police, the this, the that, everything is like, they're used to it. So for them to come to America, just like for the Chinese to come to America, they already see tons of Chinese in China doing business together. So I'm gonna come here and do the same thing, right? Spanish, right? Same thing. Italian, same thing. German, the same thing. But when you grow up here, you may not see that. You may not have had that many examples of people that look like you doing business. Right. So now somebody else comes to talk about some payment process. Like, man, I seen one lady, man, we went to an event called We Buy Black last year. And, you know, we sent her an electronic app, right? And I don't remember who the lady was, but man, it's just an app. Right. It's just an app. The same app you would get on Stripe, but ours is a little different, but it's the same information that's needed for the most part. And man, this lady probably, man, she cursed me out and she gave me the business for at least 15 minutes. And she gave me the business because she was like, you know what? You asked me for my social security number. She was going bananas. I said, you know you didn't have to put it on there, right? You don't have to put your social security number on there. You don't have to move forward. And she just kept going. She said, but you know, who were you to be asking me for that? I said, it was just an app, right? No. And so I asked her, I said, well, do you process with anyone right now? She said, yeah, I was with, I forget, one of those high-risk payment aggregators like Stripe or PayPal or Square. And she says, but they're branded. So I have to take that into consideration. She says they're branded. I said, do you know anybody there? Nah. I said, okay, but they're branded. But so a lot of it has to do with trust, in my opinion. For sure, right? For sure.
Wow, for sure. That's deep, though. That's deep. You would think that, especially if all things being equal, and you know, especially you know people who are more motivated to spend money in their own community, and obviously I don't have now. I switched my processing over, not because it's lower rates, but you got a big company. I can see if I was your first client, I'm like,
he's not gonna test out
right,
my.
Oh, for sure.
Test with my money.
Right. I wonder who that first client was. But like not because of that, but
Mr. Rothstein.
Everything. Say it again.
Mr. Rothstein.
First client. They give it a go.
Hey, let's go for it, man. I like what you're saying. You're here with me. I can see you. I could talk to you. I can contact you. Let's go. 99.9% of all the clients. No kidding. No
Not
kidding.
black.
Nope. The ones that I've found in some cases, I can't say everybody because I haven't met everybody, but the ones that I know, that know me and know what I do, the ones that say bark the loudest have the smallest bite, meaning that they don't take action. It's talk. That's what I've seen so far.
Those the ones rallying the troops with their fists in their
Yeah.
And they like, yo, community. And like, all right, well, you can use our payment processing lower than what you're paying. We don't hold your funds.
Direct relationship, everything. Matter of fact, my partner, because not everybody in the office understands our dynamic. And my partner, as soon as we see that, we're like, oh boy, here we go, right? Because we know more than likely nothing will happen. And if something does happen, it's going to be like, man, you got to do this. Now, we're not saying everybody, but the ones who have that, the loudest bark. One guy told me this, and this is interesting because this is somebody who's been raised up with that whole philosophy in America. And he told me this. He says, man, I like to talk to the people who I do business with, you know, for me to do business with you, right? And so I'm like, well, dude, aren't you with PayPal right now? He said, yeah. I said, you know you can't physically talk to anybody over there, right? I said, who do you know in PayPal, man? And he didn't even get it. For me, he wanted to see me in person. And we live in two different states. So I got to fly to him to do business with him. And this man, the amount of money he was processing, dude, wouldn't even move the needle. But I was just like, man, this is the mindset. You know what I mean? And so I think that's why, again, real social proof is so important because people need to be educated. And I can't necessarily knock people for that because it's just, they don't understand. Even the ones who are like with the staunch fist, they don't understand. Just because you accept dollars in the community, right, you need to learn the redistribution of the dollars in the community at the same time. And a lot of people don't really understand that. You follow me?
Gotcha. Tom, we good on that one? Okay, cool. That's it's very interesting because I don't even I just look at the relationship and honestly, if you were white, you're a good guy. I'm like, all right, I'll rock with your company because I don't know Stripe. I don't know anybody. And plus, obviously, you got like proof of concept. See, I'm not the guy who's gonna try first.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
You a legitimate company?
Right.
I rock with because you're a good guy,
Right.
and it definitely helps that that you're pioneering in an arena that African Americans just aren't in. Because I wouldn't even think, like most of us, we think of, oh, I'm gonna be an actor or I'm gonna start a t-shirt brand. Like you like, yo, I'm about to get in this payment processing game. It seems like such a bigger game though, guys.
I never grew up wanting to be in the payment processing. I didn't even know what it was either, right? I mean, honestly, man, I was working at a school system in Orlando, Florida. Man, started off as a volunteer at the school. I have to tell you the story one day, but I mean, no exaggeration, man. I moved to Orlando, Florida, couldn't find a job. I don't know how I hooked up with.
Did you go to college?
Yeah, I went to college at Rutgers University in New Jersey.
So you went to Rutgers?
Yep, went to Rutgers. So while
Really? Camden.
No, not Camden.
It was two
Newark.
campuses.
Well, actually, I think there's Camden, Newark, and New Brunswick.
Gotcha.
I went to the one in Newark.
Newark,
You
okay,
went to one in.
No, I'm just from Willingboro, like right next door. So.
Oh, Willingboro, New Jersey?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. So
right.
Camden is rough, bro. Right? Camden is rough.
It's not a walk in the park.
Right, no, not a walk in the park. So I moved over to Orlando, Florida, could not find a job. Some kind of way got in contact with a guy named Reverend Curry, Elder Curry. He says, man, you can come up to this school. It's a Title I school, and we have an after-school program, and you can work in it. But he said it's going to be volunteer. I was like, okay, I'd take a shot at it. And I never worked for free besides working in the church that I grew up in. So I volunteered there, passing out basketballs and, jump ropes to the children, giving out bananas and stuff like that. And they thought I could do that good. so they brought me on. It was a grant program. They brought me on. I might have been making $8.50 an hour. Then I got so good, that they let me do the books. Like remember how Kanye say you start sweeping and you can do the fries.
Yeah.
So I was graduating. They let me do the books, and I did it super well. Because with the Title I program, you audit it, right? They want to make sure no one's spending that money the wrong way. Super good books, the whole nine. And then the principal of the school, we connected. He was like, you know what? I want to bring you on. He brought me on as a teacher assistant. I don't know nothing about teaching, right? As teacher assistant, just to get me in the door. Dude looked out for me, just to get me in the door. And I was literally helping the teachers out. Oh, man, it was a tough job. I take my hat off to teachers, man. Super tough job. Definitely underpaid people, professionals, right? And it was the only project in Orlando, they call it Pork and Beans. The only project I've ever seen in Orlando to this day. And that's where, it's called Ivy Lane Elementary. That's where the school was I worked at. So you can imagine like children come to school, they're not worried about no school. They like, man, I didn't even eat breakfast today. They come to school barefooted sometimes. It was like really rough on the teachers. So I did that for about a year, but then he learned that, I made myself more assertive and I started to do other things like technology, right? Fixing computers and stuff like that. And so then the next year, and I think I might have been making, they took me from $8.50 to $10.50, right? Oh. Now, yeah, that's right, man.
Balling.
I'm balling, right? $10.50, right? I'm over minimum wage. And then I did that for a year.
What year was this?
Oh.
Roundabout.
The 90s. I think 95, something like that.
How old are you, guys?
Man, I can't tell my age on camera, man.
Worth a shot.
They can guess it out. If you guess it out the right way, I give you a prize.
I like
All right.
it.
You like that? And then I did that, and long story short, man, I was graduating up $12.50 an hour, $15 an hour, and then they got rid of the technology guy who actually ran technology for the school to bring me in because they felt like I did a better job. Yeah. And so I think the most I ever made might have been $32,000 a year, 2 children. We had a car. I was the only person bringing income in our apartment or whatever, right? And I just got to a point, man, David, I was working so hard, man. The principal had me doing, I was doing technology, fixing all the computers, all the software. I was in front of the camera. I was behind the camera. I was building websites. I was editing. I was doing lunchroom duty. I was doing crossing guard duty. I was hoping the dean would discipline. Children would be going crazy because of the Ritalin and drugs that the school would give them or whatever. I was doing everything. I was even tutoring to help children with taking it's called FCAT at the time, right? And I remember, dude, I did everything. I was like, you know what? How long can I do this? And I could have gone into administration, and they wanted me to, but I just didn't. I was like, man, the most you can make, maybe 70, 80K after so many years, so much stress, so much bureaucracy. So I saw an ad in the paper, man, and I was like, you know what? It's 100% commission. I had no sales experience, but I knew that if I could do it, I would have more control of my time. Nice. That was my thing. Yep. Time. I wanted to be with my children more.
100% commission is scary, though.
It's scary, man, because their mom was like, you know, the children, because my son had baseball, right. My daughter was in dance, you know, everybody was kind of comfortable. She was like, man, you sure you shouldn't wait? I'm like, well, wait, when? When? When they graduate? Right. And so I told the school, I was like, I need 2 months. My auntie is sick. And flew out. So they actually paid for me to fly out to California, man. That was a blessing. But I got to the airport late and missed my flight. So they had to pay $650. I even tried to fake cry at the airport. I was like, please, please, you know. I was like, and they wouldn't do it. So I had to pay $650. And I had a debit card at the time. I didn't even have a credit card. I had never even owned a credit card. And I had $1,500 to my name, right? I'd already paid the rent, so I had to pay $650, but the next month rent was coming due. Right. It was tight. Awkward. Man, so I flew out to California. They showed me their system of merchant services, and the math that they use did not work. You couldn't use that math any place else in the world. That math only worked there. Math is supposed to be a universal language. Yeah, for sure. But their math only worked there. Only. Right? And that's how the industry kind of gets down. Dang. Right? And so I'm like, man, I thought I was dumb at first. I was like, damn, I can't get it. It was that their math only works there. People were pulling numbers out of thin air, right? Literally, the whole banking system and them included, right? So long story short, man, I came back home to Orlando, couldn't sell a damn account. Could not get anyone to do anything because I was trying to use their method of selling with the briefcase, and you know I had the big old baggy suit at the time, and I was reading like from this pitch book or whatever. So I was like, man, if I don't make some money, we're going to be evicted. Yeah. So I almost considered reporting myself missing, so that I wouldn't have to come. Because could you come home right now and say, hey, honey, we got to go. You got to go somewhere. Daughter, you got to go somewhere. We're done. I can't afford it. This idea that I had didn't work. So I didn't want to do that. So I was like, damn, I'm going to report myself missing, and maybe I'll go get a job and then come back.
It's a real consideration. Like you're running it through.
Yeah, like real consideration. And this one guy who I had met in California, he says, man, whatever you do, don't quit. I had seen some level of success with him, and that's why it's so important again to have real social proof. Because if people could see it, then you know it could be done. Yeah. So I saw that he had success, and he says, whatever you do, don't quit. And so I stuck that in my mind, went out there, and became the best salesperson that year that they ever had. Same product. Same product, same company, same everything.
So the difference between no sales and like becoming the best salesperson was?
It was phenomenal.
A mindset.
It was strictly a mindset, right? You know, couple techniques here and there, instead of 97% was mindset. Because I was saying the same thing, but a different way. I was connecting a different way. That's good. Right? And I have to give credit to that guy, and then also, and so I became the best salesperson. As a matter of fact, I tripled my income that year. The next year, I quadrupled my income, right? And I have to give credit to, I started listening to Jim Rohn.
Jimmy, changed my life, bro.
Jim Rohn. Yeah. I feel that's what one of the regrets that I have is that I had the opportunity to probably go to one of his events, but I wasn't there. That's why, like, if you have an opportunity to do the real social proof, like, you just don't know how it can change your life. Like, if you get a chance to come and meet David, talk to him in person, right? And you're gonna have other people there. It will absolutely and can change your life. Because, dude, I started to listen to his audios, right? Because I wasn't a reader, but the audios helped me. And man, dude, matter of fact, while I'm driving on my way to businesses, and remember, this is cold calling. I'm walking into business, bald head dude. Well, actually, I had hair then. And I walk in and just off the fly, introduce myself and build rapport instantly, right? I would listen to Jim Rohn in the car, right? And I would have a little board next to me, and I would write on the board what I wanted to happen every month. Every single month, I blow through those numbers. Every single month. So it was mindset. And then after a while, it became such a habit where I didn't have to have the pitch book. You know, I had my own style. I turned it into my sales pitch or whatever. Yeah. And dude, the rest is history, man.
97% just mindset. That's major that you just said that. And that really just hit me hard. Like, if I wish I was on gym, but I don't think it was any conferences coming up or anything like that. And the sad thing is, if he was doing an event, I don't think I was at the maturity level to.
I wasn't.
If it wasn't, you know, like in Atlanta or something like that. Yeah. But when he passed away, I believe it was 2010, like it really hit me hard because this is somebody I've been listening to for 2-3 years. That literally changed my life.
You too.
So now that I get a chance to, like, and not a plug on Social Proof, but people that you admire, people that, you know, you follow and get to listen to, you never know how long they're going to be here.
You don't, man.
You know what I mean? Like,
you don't.
I wish I would have had a chance to see Jim, you know, to shake Jim Rohn's hand.
Right.
Would be a life-changing, unforgettable experience.
His wisdom was just like, even today, like because he's, you know, Tony Robbins worked with him and worked for him. He helped so many people out. But the level of humility and just the timeless wisdom, man, that he shared was bananas, right? So that's why when you told me about Real Social Proof, I'm like, oh man, and you were telling me about what you were doing, and I'm observing, and then I'm seeing the speakers, I'm like, man, I gotta be there. Like, how can I not? Because there's something there, somebody there is gonna say something to change my life. And it may not be instant, but man, that seed, and all I have to do is keep nurturing it. Dude, something's gonna happen. Something's gonna happen good, man.
And I want to definitely make an announcement. One, you'll be able to see Kaz at the Social Proof, but he is literally the first sponsor that we've had, period. Like,
he said first period.
Fiscal sponsor. So, you know, the thing was, I always have the mindset of, yo, I'm just going to get it done regardless, right? And, you know, I forgot, shouts out to Nehemiah Davis. He connected us, and he was like, yo,
well, that group, the Power Circle.
The Power Circle.
With Spec.
Well, we were in it.
With Spec.
But I was talking to Nehemiah, and he mentioned you specifically.
Ah, that's my man, Neo.
Yeah, he was like, yo, that's the dude you need to meet.
Okay, that's my guy.
And we connected, and, well, I think Verizon gave us a sponsorship. They gave us, like, the lanyards, and they might have gave us a couple dollars last year. But you're like the first real.
Okay,
so I appreciate it. So and
let me say this then, because this kind of ties into payment processing. So the thing that also, because I didn't see any numbers, but I believe what you said, right? I mean, for a person to get this far where you are, and with the Real Social Proof, it shows that you believe in the proof of, you believe in your business as well, because you're putting money into it, right? Yourself. And so when we get paperwork from payment, if somebody wants an account, we'll go ahead and process. But if you're selling $20, $30, $40, $50,000 tickets or $5,000 tickets, and like, man, you tell me you can't pay $100, $1,000 to get a nice looking website, or you won't invest in yourself, like, so from a risk perspective or underwriting perspective, the way they calculate risk is that way, right? You have this business, how much have you put into it? You follow me? So if you put something into it, that gives me more confidence. But if you don't put anything into it yourself, then why would somebody else?
Facts. Because I definitely I feel like definitely back you up. It's coming. We gotta go get these tickets.
He said, I definitely put it.
Facts. So I definitely appreciate you. And Kaz flew all the way down from Orlando to come to Atlanta, and we're making an amazing day of it. Made some connections with. Shouts out to my partner, Ms. Ernestine Morrison, Jay Morrison was in the building. We actually about to go back see him. I know you process for Boniface, who's the king of marketing right now.
Okay.
And every time I talk to Kaz, he's like, yo, that kid's banging it out. So
all
those people that, like, you know, he'll post on Shade Room, right? And they'll be like, oh, he ain't making no money and all that kind of stuff. Kaz is like,
no, he's making money. Boniface is making money.
Yeah, and helping a whole lot of other people do it. So like, it's just a beautiful circle of people that we have right now. It's just, it's amazing what your network can do, man. We're pulling up to the complex, and he's like, yo, I was about to tell you about this space that Nehemiah did his event at, and it turned out to be my space.
Right,
And we're here
right.
now. So
Yeah, man, the power of connections, man. I was, dude, I went to an event in Puerto Rico last week, and
how often do you travel, bro? You're never home.
I'm home, but I travel a lot, man. I'm gonna tone it down a little bit to the
And
middle
it's
of the year.
cool stuff. It's not like Kaz is going to Utah or
Right.
yo, I'm going to New York for business. It's like Bali or like Dominican, like
Right,
that
right,
every time I talk to you.
No, man, I'm working though. Trust me, I'm working. I'm working. I just show you the part on the beach.
Oh, gotcha.
That's the
Okay,
part
gotcha,
you
gotcha.
see, right? If I had a camera or videographer with me, you would see that, man. Oh, this dude is like on the computer, he's working,
Right.
he's on the phone. I'm very, very involved. I'm not involved in the back office as much operations because I'm not physically there, but we have underwriters and risk for that stuff. But man, I think it's key to absolutely connect, man. I was talking to somebody in Puerto Rico, and there's like a bunch of people who paid $21,000 to be there, right? Something like that.
$21,000 mastermind.
Yeah, 21,000. And
Was it like a $21,000 a year or like just for that event, it's 21 grand?
so 21, and you get a chance to go to 2 events within 2 years. Yeah, 21K. But here's the thing, you're not necessarily paying for all the information.
You ain't there, okay? Social proof is like a couple $100, okay? Y'all better, yeah.
And the one thing that they said is that the people who were in that room, they said people didn't pay their 25K for who's going to be in the room. They paid for who's not. You pay that for who's not going to be in the room. And I was like, oh,
What's
I
that
never
mean?
heard of that. Because you want serious people in the room. Serious people are going to invest in themselves to grow and learn.
And that high ticket keeps me
Right,
out
right.
of there.
So, but you got to start somewhere.
For right now. For
You
right
got-
now, yeah.
For right now, you got to start somewhere. So this is a good thing that you're offering this to people because people can come and not just network, passing out business cards or however what they do today, but to actually connect, to get to know people, right? And that's one thing that actually helped me in sales is I'm genuinely interested in people, like genuinely. I could do it without making no money. Just talk to people and allow them to explain to me what they do, how they do it, right? The different triumphs, the different, setbacks or whatever that they've had, right? And that's how you learn how to sell, right? Because then now, if you know everything, you smart enough, right? You don't got to be that smart.
Right.
Is now you can offer the solution, even if you're not the one giving the solution, you can offer it in some kind of way. So by you offering real social proof, you're giving so many people a chance. I'm surprised you're only doing it for $200, but you're giving people a chance to come together, right? I would never be able to see E.T., right? I don't know E.T. I don't know probably 99% of the people who are going to be there, but now I get a chance to go meet all these people up under one roof, and I can communicate, I can exchange numbers, I can talk. You can start businesses together. I can hear what someone else is doing, what's working, what's not working. Man, you know how invaluable that is? Yeah. Like super duper duper valuable. So if you're in business or even if you're working somewhere and you want to retool, because I think everybody's an entrepreneur. Intrapreneur, if you're working at another company, or entrepreneur, you still represent yourself as a business, right? Sure. The only way that you can improve in life is you must invest time and in most cases, money. Yeah, that's the currency of the day. Gotcha. Right? So I think as many people, I hope you pack the damn place out. Yeah. Like literally.
How many high-level masterminds are you in?
Man, I've been in quite a bit, man. I think right now, for this year, I think maybe 3.
But let me ask you, how much have you invested in your own personal development last year? Let's just say last year, if you had to put a ballpark figure on it.
Definitely over 6 figures. I need to do the math on that, but definitely over 6 figures.
To be in the room, to network, to learn, to grow.
Man, sometimes because, dude, it's like invaluable. I'm talking to people who they're married, they're living good, they have businesses, and these people aren't just all about money. These people have real quality of life. You know how some people say, man, for them to be a millionaire, they must not ever see their family, right? Some people live like that, but there's other people who are making really good money and living really good lives. Like fulfilling lives, right? They're not just, hoarding material objects. You're talking about when you're growing mentally, right? And you're growing physically, your health is together, right? The spiritual just, boom, kind of comes into place. So these type of circles and people, and also these circles of people, they really genuinely like helping each other. It's amazing. Like they really like helping each other. Somebody who spends $200, right? You should be able to double that. All you need to do is connect with the right people. You already know everybody you need to know. Somebody in the room can help you make another $10,000 for the year, $20,000, $100,000 for the year. That's what they come there for. They come in there to meet people like you. So when I go to these different events, these people literally, they're looking around, and I just happen to have something that everybody needs anyway. But people are looking to connect with people, to connect, not just network, but to connect with people to see how they can grow together.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
like
man.
you're in this, and I guess it makes sense too, like these people are genuinely there to help you because they're not looking at you like, how can I make money off of this person? I've got enough. Or not enough, but like they're in that level, that elite level where I don't need to like leech off you or anything like that. I'm more in is it like that? Like I'm more in a philanthropic area of my life now?
With some levels, because I'll be honest with you, when I first started out, shoot, I was one of the people in the room like, man, who can help? I need some money. I ain't about the philanthropy, nothing. So some people are like that, but people are also going there. They're going there to make business connections. Like, let's say if you're in one of those groups, they love to be on your stage. They just don't know who you are. They never met you. They don't even know if they could fit on stage or not. But they just don't know you. So people who are maybe at the 400K level per year or the $1 million level per year, right? They literally, some people who are at mega millions, they wish they could work with somebody else who doesn't know what they know. Because here's the thing, there's a book called Horse Sense. I just got the book, right?
Horse sense.
Horse Sense.
Horse sense or horse?
No, horse.
Sense.
Horse
Okay.
sense,
I mean,
right?
it seems like a catchy title.
By the same guys who wrote the book Positioning. I think Al Rise and Jack Trout or something like that, like these marketing guys from back in the day. And the book really talks about finding a horse that you could ride, right? If you think about it, right, some of the richest people in the world, okay, so LeBron James makes good money, right? Michael Jordan, Kobe, rest in peace, makes good money. How much do you think the owner makes of the team?
Significantly.
Significantly.
Yeah, significantly.
Right, right. So the owners probably can't play basketball. They probably can't shoot, can't make a layup, can't dunk, can't do anything. But they found the owner of Nike, Phil Knight, right? He didn't really blow up like that without finding a horse to ride. He found Mike, right? And a bunch of other athletes. So this book talks about, like, you don't have to be the guru, the genius, the CEO, the this, or that, and other. You just need to find a horse to ride. So when you go to these different events, you got mega successful people in there looking for a horse to ride. But it doesn't mean you won't succeed as well, because how would that help you if you could work with somebody who's already in the whatever it is you want to do, the 7-8 figure range? If you get a chance to work with them, don't you think you're gonna learn something?
Yeah, for sure.
And make good money at the same time, because they want you to be taken care of so they can continue making money. But now you're also learning more. They ain't gonna be around forever and ever and ever and ever. So eventually, you're gonna come up instead of trying to be, I'm the boss right now. I'm the king. I'm this, I'm that, right? You gotta kind of drop the ego a little bit, right? And you could be somebody's horse, or you can find a horse to ride.
Right.
Just connect. So these people actually come there looking for a horse to ride.
Oh, that's beautiful. Man, we about to wrap up because we still ain't eat today.
We ain't
and
eating,
I'm
man.
starving.
My stomach is hurt.
I got one question. I like to make predictions on this podcast where I'm going to ask you where you see yourself, your business, or your life, whatever, in the next 5 to 10 years, so that 5 to 10 years from today, we can watch this video and say, well, Khaaz said he was going to do it, and he actually did it. So where do you see yourself next 5 to 10?
I just came from a meeting, man. It was a 10-year plan meeting as well. I didn't finish, but I have an idea. So I would say in the next 5 years, well, first of all, we will be definitely, in terms of the financial goals, we'd definitely be in the multi-billions per year. Like we're in the billion every year now, but the multi-billions per year. Also, the the business it will have a more systematic approach, right? I'm still kind of involved, right? But eventually I will step away a little bit, right? I will still be in it, but I won't be like day to day like I am now. I'm like day to day in it.
You got 50 employees at one of your locations, and you're still in the grind.
I'm in it, but I have the team is awesome. Like I can't even log into some of the systems. I don't even know the login. Matter of fact, in 2020, that's one of the things I want to do. I want to get more involved so I can at least have a login. Right. I don't even have a login to a lot of stuff. Like 97% of the things in the back end, I don't have a login for. I understand a little bit about it. I understand the bigger picture, but I can't log in and do what risk does, underwriting. I don't even have login to customer service or tech support stuff. So I want to be a little bit more involved, but I want to be able to run the business literally from a napkin. So in 5 to 10 years, we're going to have different businesses that are run from napkins.
Explain that.
So that means that it's been simplified to a level where I can look at this number, and that number, and know exactly what's going on in the business, right? So that's where I kind of see everything going in 5 to 10 years. Also, even bigger than business, man, I want to have a super deep circle of friends and family, and we just do things all year. I mean, I got like some other details, but we meet up 2 or 3 times a year. So I want to be able to deepen my relationships, man, in the 5 to. So I want to be that guy who has extremely deep relationships. I want to be known as a problem solver. And I think the only way to really do that, because I can't do everything, so I have to have the business running in a proper way. My business partner the same way. He has the same concept. We both grind it out, man, 15-hour days, 16-hour days. Man, don't be the hype. Years. That ain't fun, man. That's a lot of work. Wow. A lot of work. So that's where, I don't know if that gives an answer, but definitely in the multi-billions, and to be that connector, man. I want to be the guy where you call up and David says, man, let me call Khaaz. I think he can help. If he can't help, he got to know somebody. He can connect me to the right person. I want to just be that invaluable. I want to be that guy. Whenever I call, you pick up the phone. Yeah. That's what I want to be. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. There it is, man. Listen, make sure you get your ticket to Real Social Proof. You can go to realsocialproof.com and make sure you come to Khaaz's session. Okay, you definitely want to hear what he has to say. Just a wealth of knowledge. And there's so many things that can kill your business financially that you're just unaware of. And there are some people that are in business and it's slowly chipping away at you, but you don't know the numbers or you don't look at the statements and you just have no idea. So
Can I say one thing?
Yeah, please.
Also, I would say this too, like learn business skills, right? It's super important to learn business skills, and I hear people say success loves speed. Right, and it's true, but to have a deep relationship, right, you can go with the one-night stand. I'm not knocking it. If you're in a relationship, you had a one-night stand. But if you really want to have a deep, meaningful relationship, you kind of take your time, right? Because you want it to be the best it could possibly be. You want to know as much as you can, right? And to create a masterpiece, and one of my mentors shared this with me, and what he says is to become like, and I wish I had another example, but he says, to become the Picasso of your industry, right? And like Picasso in his time or in that culture, he's known as one of the best artists or whatever, right? Sure. So to become the Picasso, but he for countless days and weeks and months and years, it took him to develop that. I'm not saying you have to take that long to start your business, but don't be in such a rush to just click a button without getting the proper tools to help you and really hone in and craft your business. A lot of times people come to us and they're like, man, set this up right now. And they don't really have anything set up. Yeah. There's nothing to set up. Right? You just have this idea and you have all these huge prices on a piece of paper. But when we're walking you through, do this, do this, do
That's what I like about your company versus like a Stripe, because it's just a website, but like you can you'll be able to have a touch point of somebody and say, okay, what do I need to do to establish?
Correct.
Right?
Right. Even soon, we'll have an auto boarding link coming up soon where people can click a button and instantly begin, well, not instantly, but the next day, and then eventually instantly begin processing. But even with that, we're going to give you some time. We're going to look at it. We're going to contact you and say, hey, you need to do this, do this, do this, and that. Because we want to protect you, because otherwise anybody can create a chargeback, anybody can say anything because you don't have it together. So we want to, sometimes even some people get taken advantage of, like drop shippers, for instance, right? They get into drop shipping, they don't even have a contract with the fulfillment house. So you may be, if you don't have a contract and I send the fulfillment house $20K, they don't got to send me nothing. I don't have no contract with you. That was a gift, thank you. Right?
Right.
So we're looking at all that for them, right? And we'll do the same thing for everybody who comes on board. We want to help you be in this for the long term. That's really what it is.
I love it, man. And give the website, Khaz, how people can get more information on EC.
They can go to ecom.paymentprocessing.com, or they can just maybe, I don't know, will it be in here like the IG handle or something like that? I'm still very involved, and you can DM me or something like that. KhaazRa, they can't spell this, but
right.
KhaazRa MaaRanu.
KHAAZ capital RA.
That's it.
Yeah.
DM me, and I'm here to support Social Proof, so looking forward to it. Hopefully you will be there. I cannot stress. If I had Social Proof many years ago, I'd be so much further ahead, man. Not just in my business, but also in my personal life as well, because I think they go hand in hand together,
Facts.
right? And then you come and you say, well, man, David he got a family, he's doing it, and now you have other alternatives, right? And you seeing, like I said, man, seeing is believing, man. So if I can see someone doing it, then I know I can do it too.
I love it. There it is. You heard it from the man. Make sure you follow KhaazRa, okay? Listen, if you tired of Stripe holding your funds, PayPal, these processors holding your money.
Banks too. The banks do the same thing.
Oh, the banks, okay, like Chase, if you're tired of them holding your funds, okay?
Or being treated like a number.
Or being treated like a number.
And if you're okay with that, then, but if you don't want to be treated like a number, if you want to be treated like somebody important because these people are holding your money, it would be helpful to have a relationship, right?
Yeah, and a lot of companies, they're going towards, if you hit 0 on the customer service, it just reroutes you to the beginning. So.
Really?
They're like, what? I was on the line yesterday actually. Like, you hit 0, they just, nope. 0.
Really?
I want to talk to somebody, nope.
What?
They routed me right back, and then eventually there's like, call back later.
Man.
Done. So, and it is too big of a game to play to not be able to like touch somebody and get in touch with somebody. So I pray that even as your company explodes, you still just have that personal touch.
I think because I'm personal, that's like my personality, right? And I can't see it being any other way, man. The personal touch is super key. Even with all the sales reps that I've had the pleasure and opportunity to train, that's the one thing I'll always stress, like, dude, be accessible, right? Sure. Don't show up and, you tell her, you buy her flowers, you give her, you doing everything before, right? And then when you get the goodies, you're a ghost. Right. And I see sales reps like that too. Facts. They do all this stuff, they say all this stuff, and then as soon as the sale happens, you can't get in contact with them, or if something you want something a little bit different, the attitude changes, they kind of dog you out or whatever, or mistreat you. Like, don't be that person. I think sales is before, during, and after. That's the whole sales process for us. So I think we'll always be able to offer that. And sometimes we bring clients out to the office. Lately, it's been so many people at one time, we can't fit everybody in there. Right. But maybe, we can connect with you or something like that and do a social proof / whatever to bring more people out, and we'll help educate people that way as well.
Well, there it is, man. Make sure you get your ticket to Social Proof and follow KhaazRa, okay? I will see you April 2nd and 3rd. Out of here.
Boom. My man.